Namaskar, welcome to Kalam IAS. This is Vasudev Singh Bhati, and today we are going to do the discussion of agriculture question in GS3 in the mains 2024. So there were 4 questions from agriculture this year also. Like every year, this year the pattern in the economy section, that is the basic economy and the agriculture, has remained the same. 4 questions from economy and 4 questions from agriculture. So 50 marks every year from past 5 years we have been getting, each from economy as well as agriculture. So we can say there's definitely a pattern that the pattern is fixed now. First, second, 11th and 12th question will be from economy. Third, fourth and 13th, 14th question will be from agriculture, and this year also happened the same. So this year there were 4 questions from agriculture. The first is, what were the factors responsible for the successful implementation of land reforms in some part of the country? Explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security in India. Third is, question number 13 is, what are the major challenges faced by Indian irrigation system and measures taken by government? Then last question was, elucidate the importance of buffer stock for stabilizing agriculture prices in India, and what are the challenges associated with storage of buffer stock? So we'll start with the third question. The question is, what were the factors responsible for successful implementation of land reforms in some parts of the country? Elaborate. So we will follow a structure where in introduction we will define what is land reforms, what is the purpose of land reforms. Then we will move towards the body part, where we will talk about, first we will, in a flow chart we will show different measures taken under land reforms, because if there is a question on land reforms and we do not mention even zamindari system, then that's not okay. So what we'll do is we'll start with just a small flow chart showing what were the different measures taken under land reforms, for example zamindari system, tenancy reforms, etc. And then we will move forward to the factors responsible for successful implementation of land reforms. That is the main demand of the question. And then we will mention 2-3 short challenges, and in finally conclusion we will give a futuristic conclusion, sort of a way forward, what else can be done for land reforms. So introduction could be something like this, that land reform refers to a set of policies and measures aimed at addressing issues related to land ownership, tenancy, distribution and land use. Then these reforms typically involved distributing land to ensure social and economic justice as enshrined in the preamble. You do not need to write both of them. It is a 10-marker question. This introduction is more than enough. And then we can move forward to the measures under land reforms, a small flow chart where we will just write certain keywords related to land reforms. For example, zamindari reforms, tenancy reforms, land ceiling, land consolidation, collective farming, etc. And then we will move to the demand of the question directly, as we do in a 10-marker. After writing the introduction, we will do some value addition, but that will not take more than 1/4 of the page. And then we will move to the demand of the question, that is factors responsible for successful implementation of land reforms in some parts. So the first is strong political will. We will, after writing the point, we will substantiate it. For example, we are talking about West Bengal, where the operation Barga in West Bengal benefited 14 lakh farmers. Effective leadership, for example, Vinoba Bhave's initiative of Bhudan movement, 4.4 million acres of land was collected in it. Then community and social acceptance of the land reforms among the people. So land consolidation in Punjab became very successful, and in Haryana it became successful because of the community support and the acceptance, social acceptance of land reforms. Farmers unions also played a very important role in the land reforms. Whenever there is a question on the post-independence period, always try to link it with the independence movement. You will find some points there. So students miss out on this point, that All India Kisan Sabha also played a very important role in pressurizing the government in bringing the land reforms. So zamindari abolition was supported by them, and in Uttar Pradesh zamindari abolition was very successful. 20 million people got land rights due to abolition of zamindari. Then we can also write left party government. For example, the communist government in the Kerala and West Bengal also radical changes. Tenancy reforms were also brought in, under which 40 lakh tailors got 35 lakh of hectares, and rent ceiling was also done at 20 to 25%. Rent ceiling was done. And then after that, grassroots peasant movements. For example, the grassroots peasant movement pressurized the government into taking action. You can take example of Telangana rebellion, which was a grassroots peasant movement, which again pressurized the government into bringing the land reforms. Then you can talk about judicial reforms, judicial supports. For example, Golaknath versus State of Punjab 1967, which supported the land reforms. So we have written 8 points here. If you write just 6 points here, that will be more than enough. And then you can move forward to the some of the challenges faced in land reforms. First is loopholes in the land reforms itself, the loopholes in the laws itself. Zamindars, could retain land declared under personal cultivation. Lack of land rights and records. Land records themselves were not properly there. So as a result, land reforms became very difficult. Verbal contracts, as a result, rent ceiling of 20 to 25% could not be implemented on the ground because the contracts were verbal; they were not written in nature. Tea estate, orchards, etc., were excluded from land ceiling. So land was declared as tea estates and orchards by planting a few trees there. And finally, the leakages of information, as many of the ministers themselves were the landlords. So as a result, the land reforms, implementation of land reforms in many parts of the countries, took a hit, and it was not successful in many parts of the countries. So finally, we will conclude with assigning unique land parcel identification number, digitization of cadastral maps, and establishing land registries, as mentioned in the budget 24-25. So this year's budget 24-25 mentioned, we have already seen question number 1 and question number 2 directly from the economic survey of 24-25, and this year's budget also 24-25 budget also talked about several land reforms. It was there in the highlights of the budget. There are 7-8 points given what land reforms that the government wants to bring in the future. For example, Bhu Aadhaar, cadastral maps, digitization of cadastral maps, etc. So these things government talked about in the budget, and UPSC asked a question on land reforms. So you can use those points as a way forward. For example, UL PIN, digitization of cadastral maps, establishing land registries as mentioned in the budget 24-25 could help in further land reforms in India. So if you write, even 60% or 70% of the points that we have discussed in the last question, that would be more than enough to fetch good marks in that answer. Now, moving forward to the fourth question. Explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security in India. Now, millets have been in the news from past, almost 5-7 years. So, question on millets was expected. The question has been asked in a specific context, that is health and nutritional securities. We have discussed, millets in our notes. We have discussed it in our class. This is part of the presentation. This is part of the PDF that we provide to the students. Benefits of the millets. What are the benefits for the farmers? What are the benefits for consumers? In which we have talked about health benefits which are there for the consumers, and environmental benefits. So these things we have talked about in the classes. Similarly, similar things we have given in the PDF as well as in the classes. And UPSC asked the question on, for example, gluten-free, low absorption of fat, low in glycemic index. These all things we have discussed, and UPSC asked a question upon the health and nutritional benefits of millets in India. So in introduction, we will start with what are millets. We can start with 2023 year declared as International Year of the Millets. We can start with that, or we can just start with the definition of millets. What do you mean by millets? You can start with the the word given by MS Swaminathan, that these are nutri cereals. So you can start with that. Any introduction is all right here. So we will just talk about millet, what are millets and how much millets are produced in India. And we can also give a few few names of the millets, ragi, bajra, etc. And then in the body part, we will divide answer into the how millets can help in health and nutritional security in India. And after that, we will also write the challenges in using millets as promoting health and nutritional security in India. And finally, the conclusion, again a futuristic conclusion, talking about how to move forward and how the government can take further steps to tackle the challenges mentioned above. So in introduction, we can mention that millets are core cereals, also called nutri cereals by MS Swaminathan, due to their high nutritional value. We will give we can also give about data about India's production of millets. India is the largest producer and 5th largest exporter of millet in the world. We will give a few examples of the millets: pearl millet, finger millet, sorghum, etc. And then we will move to the demand of the question, that is the role of millets in health and nutritional security in India. So the first is gluten-free alternative. Millet is a gluten-free alternative. So it is a healthy alternative for the people with gluten intolerance and digestive diseases. Then combating lifestyle diseases. Millets helps in combating the lifestyle diseases. Millets are low in glycemic index, and therefore people with diabetes can consume millet. Millets also are, for example, glycemic index of the foxtail millet is around 54 compared to 73 in the rice. Low absorption of fat, this we have discussed, these 2-3 points we have discussed in our classes also. We are again discussing it. That low absorption of fats again was the result of, low absorption of fat again helps in healthy lifestyle for the people. And then nutricereals, millets are called nutricereals by M.S. Swaminathan because they are rich in protein and vitamins. Then you can talk about the protein content of the millets. For example, pearl millets have 11% protein compared to 5% in wheat. This is not per millet, this is pearl millet. Rich in dietary fiber, millets are very rich in dietary fibers, which is again good for digestion. Improved digestion aids in the weight management. Addressing micronutrient deficiencies, the millets are rich in micronutrients, calciums, iron, etc. They are also very rich in vitamins. So you can talk about micronutrients, vitamins, the fibers, the protein, the low glycemic index, etc., gluten free. So these are 5-6 points which you can mention. Then you can also talk about the broader health benefits which is provided by the millets, that is climate resilient crop. So millets are drought resistant, and as a result they're environment friendly, and whatever is environment friendly is also helps in health security of the nation. Then we will write a few challenges. For example, the first is neglect in agriculture research. Millets have been neglected in agriculture research. The high yield variety seeds have not been developed for the millets. These are mostly for the cereals like rice and wheat. But for the millets, the high yield variety seeds are not available. Low consumer awareness regarding the health benefits of the millets. So as a result, the demand is low. Processing and value addition of the millets is quite difficult. You require specialized technical expertise, and so as a result, the value addition in millets is not as much as there in the rice and the wheat. And finally, we can conclude with government initiatives like submission on nutricereals and Indian Institution of Millet Research in Hyderabad are steps in right direction to resolve the above challenges and promote millet production and consumption in India. So what we have done here is we have discussed what are the health and nutritional benefits of the millets. We have discussed a few challenges, though that those were not asked. We whenever something is not asked, we will write only 2-3 points there. So we have written 3 points in the challenges. Why the millets? What are the challenges we are facing in production of the millets or promoting millets in the people? And then finally a conclusion in which we will also give a solution to the problem that we have discussed. Next question is a 15 marker. Question number 30. What are the major challenges faced by Indian irrigation system in recent times? So in the first part, we have to discuss the challenges faced by Indian irrigation system and then measures taken by government for efficient irrigation management. Now, this again was there in the, what are the challenges that Indian irrigation system faces, along with map was there in our notes. And what is the way forward, what are the government initiatives should be there. So everything was there in the Kalam golden pages, the notes we provide to our main students. And you just had to go and use these points directly in the answer, and you will see most of the all complete answer is directly from the notes itself. So in this answer, we will start with an introduction where first we will define irrigation. What do you mean by irrigation? You can also start with certain data. How much area in India is actually irrigated area? Both of these introductions are fine. And then we will show some major methods of irrigation which are there in India by a small flow chart. And then we will move to the demand of the question. The first is challenges faced by Indian irrigation system. So we will list down a few challenges, 6-7 challenges faced by Indian irrigation systems. Then the second part of the question, which is asked by the UPSC, that is measures taken by government for efficient irrigation management. And then finally, way forward, that is an additional dimension that we are writing from our side. Way forward to show what more measures can be taken. Whenever we discuss challenges in an answer, we will always give a solution to those challenges. So the UPSC has asked the challenges. So in finally, we will give a way forward and then a futuristic conclusion about importance of irrigation and how government initiatives are helping in achieving those various objectives. Then so in introduction, we will write irrigation is a practice of artificially applying control amounts of water to land, help grow crops or other purposes. Now, 49% of total cultivated area is irrigated, contributing 60% in total production. This is the data as per recent government, reports. So this data can be used as introduction. You can also define what is irrigation, and then you will move forward to the major irrigation methods that are followed in India. For example, tank irrigation, canal irrigation, traditional and tube well irrigation, sprinkle and drip irrigation. We will not write much about these because these the question is not what are the Indian irrigation system. So we will just write major irrigation methods, major irrigation system that is existing in India, and then we will move forward to the demand of the question. So demand of the question is major challenges faced by Indian irrigation system. First is low coverage itself, that only 52% area has irrigation access as per Niti Aayog report. So low coverage is the first point. Second point is low share of micro irrigation. Micro irrigation share in the irrigation is very low. So as per the Niti Aayog report, only 11% of total cultivated area is under micro irrigation. 89% is still under the traditional irrigation systems. Low water use efficiency of the various irrigation methods used in India. For example, canal irrigation has water use efficiency of only 40%, which covers around 40% of the total cultivated area. So compared to, say, water use efficiency of micro irrigation, which has 90% water use efficiency. Groundwater depletion is another problem here. 79% of blocks in Punjab have been declared dark zones. So groundwater depletion is another problem, another challenge faced by Indian irrigation system. Next is net water exporting state. India has become a net water exporting state as per the Economic Survey 2019, virtual water exporter of the world. Environmental degradation is another problem, another challenge faced by Indian irrigation system. Irrigation increases salinization of the soil, monocropping, etc. Poor canal management, another challenge faced by Indian irrigation system. We have seen the command area of the Indira Gandhi canal has experienced waterlogging and salinization due to lack of maintenance. Climate change impact is another problem because of its erratic monsoon, and droughts and floods years have become very frequent. So as a result, again, irrigation becomes difficult for the agriculture purposes. So we have discussed 8 points here. You can write 6 or 7 points out of these 8 points and then move to the second part of the questions. Measures taken by government for efficient irrigation management. The first is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, again, whenever UPSC ask a question, what are the different measures taken by government, many students follow a practice that they will list down the government measures taken by government. Na? Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, per drop more crop, development of the canal irrigation system, promotion of the sprinkle irrigation. ऐसा करके कुछ they will write a few points. But instead of that, the better strategy is to write Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Of course, you have to write that. After that, add certain value to it. Write about the achievement of that scheme, write about the target of that scheme, or at least the feature of that scheme, so that the examiner knows what you're talking about, and your answer will also stand out. So in the Pradhan Mantri, again, this thing has to be there in your notes itself. These things will not come in while you are writing answer, because it's not possible that you memorize everything. If it is there in your notes, then some of the points that you will remember, you will write in the answer. So Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, so 70 lakh hectares covered under micro irrigation as per the annual report of 2022. Then rainfed area development program by government of India, which promotes irrigation of the irrigated farming systems, soil conservation, soil moisture conservation, and water harvesting. Micro irrigation fund, rupees 5,000 crore micro irrigation fund have been created with NABARD by government for micro irrigation, across 1 million hectares by 2026. Then other measures could be accelerated irrigation benefit program, which is expedite completion of 99 prioritized irrigation projects, and these projects will cover 76 lakh hectares of irrigation potential. Then canal construction is another where you can give example of Indira Gandhi Canal, and then next point could be river interlinking project, where also you can give example of Ken Betwa project. So just simple write the different measures taken by government, and what are the steps taken by what are the different achievements or different targets, or just one achievement, just one target, or just one feature of that scheme, one example of that scheme. For example, river interlinking projects, we have just given an example of Ken Betwa project. So that is sufficient to substantiate my point. Then we will move toward the way forwards. What other measures which can be taken for better irrigation management in the country? First is increase water use efficiency. By adopting, Raleighan Siddhi model of water management, we can increase water use efficiency. Encouraging micro irrigation. Micro irrigation has high water use efficiency of 90%. So the 5,000 crore rupees fund available with NABARD should be utilized properly for encouraging micro irrigation. Rationalization of subsidies and MSPs to promote those crops which are less water intensive, for example millets, compared to say rice and sugarcane. Then Mihir Shah, you can also mention name of the Ramesh Chand committee. Ramesh Chand committee has suggested that pulses, oil seeds, etc. should be procured more under MSP and should be also be given under the public distribution system. So millets, pulses, oil seeds, etc. will help us have better irrigation system. Mihir Shah committee has also recommended that Gujarat's model of participatory water management should be adopted across India by involving water users association. So water users association can be helpful in better irrigation management in India. Then finally we will conclude with efficient irrigation management is key to ensure food security of the nation in the times of climate change and extreme weather events. Efficient irrigation can help us achieve SDG 2.4, that is sustainable production of food. So what we have done here is we have given way forward separately, so we cannot give another way forward in the conclusion. So what we will do is we will take a government target or we will take a sustainable development goal and link it with the demand of the question, and then we will say that sustainable irrigation practices can help us achieve sustainable development goals 2.4, that is sustainable the production of food. And then we will move to the next question. Next question is elucidate the importance of buffer stocks for the stabilizing agriculture prices in India. What are the challenges associated with the storage of buffer stocks? So the question is the importance of buffer stock, the challenges associated with buffer stock, and we have discussed all these things with regarding the storage, and these things can be used as points. The points for the buffer stock and the storage will remain the same. Again, these were available in our notes. You just had to read them out and write in the answers. In introduction, we will start with defining the buffer stock and mentioning the objectives of buffer stock. In body, we will have 4 parts. First, the different strategic reserves. In a flow chart, we will draw a small flow chart where we will show what is the amount of reserves which are created strategically as per the Government of India guidelines. And then we will start with demand of the question, that is most important importance of buffer stock in stabilizing agriculture prices. And then we will move to the second demand of the question, different challenges associated with storage of buffer stock. And then finally, because we are discussing challenges, so we will give a solution also. So we will give various committee recommendations for and other measures for better buffer stock management. And finally, we will conclude it by linking buffer stock with sustainable development goal. So starting the answer, we can write the introduction that buffer stock refers to reserve of essential commodities such as food grains maintained by the government to stabilize prices, ensure availability during the time of scarcity, and regulate the market fluctuation in prices. So the complete introduction is not necessary, but if you write just half of it, that buffer stock refers to reserves of essential commodities such as food grain maintained by government to stabilize prices and ensure availability. So this is enough. And then you can start with strategic reserves which are created by government: 20 lakh ton of rice, 30 lakh ton of wheat, and 1.5 lakh ton of pulses. So this is the strategic reserves which are being created by government. Then we will start with go to the demand of the question. So demand of the question is importance of buffer stocks for stabilizing agriculture prices. The first is it reduces shortage. So what the buffer stock does is reduces shortage during the time of shortage, when the prices the buffer stock is released whenever there is shortage in the market. So as a result, the supply side is taken care of. Second is targeted public distribution system, which again buffer stock helps in providing supply for the targeted public distribution system and providing free food grains to the poor people, as again it results into stabilization of the prices of agriculture goods. Other welfare schemes are also supported by buffer stocks, for example midday meal scheme and ICDS, integrated child development scheme, etc. In these also certain amount of food grains are provided, and these are again supported by buffer stocks. Then inflation control is also done by buffer stocks, as the government sells these uses these buffer stock to control the prices, and it controls the inflation in the country, or food inflation in the country. Other importance could be supply shock management. Whenever there is extreme price spikes, so the government will release the buffer stock. As a result, supply shock management is done. Farmer support is also ensured by buffer stock, as the government is the prime procurer to maintain the buffer stock, so it helps in stabilization of the prices. For example, severe price drops and ensure stability. Then ensuring food security by maintaining buffer stocks, as buffer stock acts as a safety net during the droughts, floods, etc. Then we will move to the second part of the question, that is challenges associated with storage of buffer stock. The first challenge is, of course, overstock. The data is there that rice stock was 2.5 times the required stock with FCI in 2023. Second is infrastructure deficiency, the poor infrastructure. As a result, the cold storage is inadequate. Only 30 million metric tons capacity versus 50 million required for cold storage. High storage cost is another problem. Food Corporation of India report said that they had to pay 30,000 crore rupees as rent for storage of buffer stock to the private parties. Against WTO's agreement on agriculture, the buffer stock is being contended by the WTO as being the price distorting subsidy provided by government. So WTO has ruled against India's policies of stocking of the food grains. Then another challenges could be quality degradation. Quality degradation because of the poor storage. So CAG report has said that about 5% of the stored grains infested or degraded, as per the CAG report of 2022. Corruption and mismanagement is another problem. CAG report said that up to 20% of the stocks lost to corruption and inefficiencies. Market distortion is another problem, that excess stock release can cause the price crashes and harming farmers' income. So government tries to reduce the food grains prices, but it can also harm income of the farmers. Open-ended procurement is another problem, because government does not have any target for procurement of buffer stock under the minimum support price. So the procurement is open-ended, and as a result, it results into overstocking. So that is another challenge. Then we will move to the measures to better manage the buffer stock, that is way forward. First, we will talk about the Shanta Kumar committee recommendation. They said that scientific storage should be used instead of cover and plinth storage. So cover and plinth should be replaced by silos, the vacuum silos, the protected silos. And then second recommendation that the Shanta Kumar committee talked about, to Food Corporation of India, flexibility to operate in open market sales scheme, export excess stock. If the FCIs have excess stock, they should be able to export those excess stock, and auto liquidation of stock. Whenever the stock reaches a particular limit, it should be automatically liquidated as per the Shanta Kumar committee. Then there is Ashok Dalwai committee. Ashok Dalwai committee recommended increasing the cold storage capacity to prevent spoilage of buffer stock. So these two important committees are there. If you mention name of these two committees, then definitely you are going to be marked more marks. Then another measures could be improving quality control. For example, High Level Committee on Agriculture Exports has suggested that regular monitoring and maintenance of stored good is required. And then optimization of storage cost is another suggestion. The Niti Aayog has recommended that adopting modern storage techniques to reduce expenses. Expanding of the geographic coverage. Again, northeastern areas have are not covered under the buffer stock, and as a result, certain regions in the country have a higher share in procurement as well as the release of the buffer stock. So the geographical coverage should be across the country. And finally, we will conclude with buffer stocks are vital for stabilizing agriculture prices and ensuring food security in India. Buffer stock has been key in advanced achievement of the SDG 1.2 to reduce poverty in all dimensions by half 2023. So buffer stock has been crucial in multidimensional poverty reduction in India. So what we have done here is we have divided the question into several parts. We answered every part with certain points. Every point has been substantiated with certain data or example. And finally, in conclusion, what we do is we use government targets or sustainable development goals and link it with the demand of the question, and then we conclude it. If we have provided way forward separately. If we have not provided way forward separately, then we will write way forward in the conclusion. So this is the overall structure of the answer. I hope you learned something from these sessions. And UPSC is going to do the same thing. In every year I see in agriculture, all the 4 questions are asked directly from the syllabus. There is not even a single question which is out of the syllabus. That is, even the words are picked up directly from the syllabus. So if you have notes prepared on syllabus, that is more than enough. You have seen example that all the 4 questions, we already had the answer to these 4 questions in our notes. So if you have notes prepared on the syllabus, then the at least agriculture question are going to be cakewalk for you. So I hope you learned something, and we will meet again. Thank you.